Hey everyone, Lupine Fiasco back with some more FaB gameplay for you through the Talishar.net client. We've got a game against Lexi today. I've been avoiding putting these videos up because I'm very uncomfortable in this matchup. I'm just learning more recently about how to navigate, how to play a little more mid-range into Lexi and really make smart blocks, which is not something that we usually have to practice. You know, FaB will do some blocking, especially against Bravo, Azalea, but for the most part, if we're blocking, it's because our hand sucks. With Lexi, it does take a little more than that. So the strategy I've been working on is trying to block the bigger on hits. Heat Seeker, potentially Infecting Shot, potentially Remorseless. Those are more just raw damage. But Heat Seeker's a good one. Endless Arrow, if I think they can really utilize it multiple times throughout the course of a turn, is what I'm looking to get value off of, and hopefully keeping enough cards that I can at least threaten one Mask of Momentum trigger. Try to take Lexi off of some cards and maybe find a turn where she's just sending damage and I can keep a whole grip and really try to take tempo back. But it's a hard matchup for sure. There are definitely some FaB players that feel more comfortable into it than I do. I am working on it, but that's why I've been avoiding putting up Lexi games, because I just don't feel like I am necessarily an authority here. But we're going to start putting them up. She's definitely a threat in the metagame. And how do we get better if we don't review our mistakes? Our Lexi has chosen to put us on the play. This is an aggro matchup, so ideally you do want to go second into this, be able to utilize your first hand for blocking, but here we do have a pretty good hand for going first. We can go very wide here. See how Lexi's going to choose to block. We have 2 Draconic Links and a blue in hand, so we do not need to worry about sending a Kodachi here. Again, this is turn 1, so kind of expecting to get some blocks out of Lexi. We can send Kodachis for easy chip damage. Sending our Phoenix Flame here, just getting cards out of Lexi's hand. We have a choice of whether we want to send the Lava Burst or send a Lava Vein Loyalty. Sending Lava Burst is higher damage because Voltaire acts at instant speed. There is the possibility that Lexi could arsenal an arrow on our turn if we don't present enough damage. So sending the Lava Vein Loyalty just to encourage the Lexi to not block, or to block with her hand, not use it to load an arrow and get a 5-card hand on her turn is very good. Here we see Remorseless pitched for the Endless Arrow. This is an interesting hand in that we have the Spreading Flames, which is not ideal here. If we had a blue, this hand would be very good. We would take this Endless Arrow damage and just soldier on. As it is, with this Endless Arrow in hand, Lexi not having any floating resources, I believe I am inclined to block this Endless Arrow, use probably not even Furnace, honestly. Use Spreading Flames and Ronin Renegade, send 9 damage back at Lexi, get a card from her hand to stop the mask trigger. She is either going to pitch an arrow and pitch another card, load a 0-cost arrow, shoot that at us. She could just pass the turn with a 5-card hand, but either way, blanking this damage and sending back a mask trigger of our own is really what I would do now. But again, I don't know if that's correct. As it is, if we take this damage, Endless Arrow returns to Lexi's hand. She can pitch another red, load it, come in for 5. Lexi pitches another red, reloads the Endless Arrow. I do, looking back, think that this should have been an easy block. Prevent a potential 8 here. And see, we choose to block now, expecting to go, playing around go again, but I don't know why I did that. That was really where I'm learning this matchup, is that I feel like I don't play intentionally enough. So if we had blocked the first Endless Arrow, 2 cards in hand, if Lexi plays an Arctic Incarceration, yeah, we don't get to do anything on our turn, but we are denying Lexi resources that she would like to otherwise keep. Here we're just sending head jabs. Lexi blocks a little early, which is good news for us. We will get to send a Phoenix Flame at the end of this chain. Here, sending the Phoenix Flame as link 2, seeing whether Lexi's going to give us Hornet Sting. She is not, so we get to send a third chain link. Threaten Mask and Momentum. Lexi thinking about it, which makes me believe that she does not have a 3 of a kind available. We get our Bolton Shot. So 2 cards from Lexi's hand. We pushed a bit of damage over the course of the turn. Here we can send 4, 5, 6 links. We will not be blocking this Heat Seeker. It does give the Lexi quite a bit of value, especially if she can do something with this last arrow, but our hand is just too good. We get to threaten 2 Mask Momentum triggers and end with a breaking point. Heat Seeker having go again. This could be an Arctic Incarceration. It could be something like a Remorseless. Really deciding what do we think our Lexi's going to follow up Heat Seeker with. Nothing is interesting. Maybe it's a Codex, though they likely would have played it. Maybe they had an Arctic. I'm not sure why they didn't give the Heat Seeker +1. Yikes to an Arctic in Arsenal. So here we will just be sending, we can send 2, 1, 3. If I was making this decision now, if Lexi doesn't want to give Hornet Sting to block a Kodachi, let's try to get an arrow out of Lexi's hand rather than a non-arrow. Revealing Codex, which goes to the bottom. That's good. Here we can send our Ronin Renegade, see if it gets blocked. Send a Kodachi, send a Phoenix Flame for 2. And then end with a breaking point. Note that we do need to send a Ronin Renegade before Kodachi because we need the 3rd Draconic Link so that we can afford to pick up our Phoenix Flame and play our breaking point. Phoenix Flame getting a 2nd Arctic Incarceration. It's good for us here playing the breaking point. Lexi has a few options available. She can either take the 5, lose the Arsenal. She can also block 6, play the Arctic, and just reset. We do draw a blue, so we get to do something with this hand. This is a pretty simple line. We can play 3, 3, 4. We do need to decide how we want to sequence this. We could play Brand into Rabble, which would let us pick up our Phoenix Flame. That is a slightly higher damage line, but it does give Lexi an easier block on the 3rd chain link. We can send 3, 3, 4, which is what we're more inclined to do normally. What makes this complicated is the Art of War in Lexi's arsenal. She can give +1 and draw 2 cards. She can also give go again and draw 2, but all of this is to say that she is more freely able to block with arrows from hand. With that in mind, I believe how I want to sequence this is 3-4-3, pick up a Phoenix Flame for 1. Maybe this brand gets blocked, which lets us send another mask trigger, but I do think that just pushing for damage here is the ideal play. In any case, we start brand with Cinderclaw, no matter which line we're taking. Opting for the lower damage, higher value play. We get blocked by a Searing Shot. Like I suspected, choosing here to Arsenal the Ravenous Rabble. We see Lexi with a 3 of a kind. I would have liked my other line more. We push more damage. We can leave a Phoenix Flame in our arsenal rather than send it. But this is a big turn from Lexi. We're in trouble regardless. We are able to send a potential 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 links on our turn, depending on this snatch. Whether it is blocked or not, Lexi giving the +1 and drawing 2 cards. Also playing a 3 of a kind, which is good or bad news for us. Lexi has more card selection. Obviously, she's sending a ton of damage our way, but we don't have to worry about Icequake, Arctic Incarceration to finish the chain. This is just damage. You have a Remorseless coming in for 6. So an interesting decision to make here, with Remorseless being the first thing that Lexi's doing on her turn. We see the Endless Arrow in Arsenal. Lexi does still have Snapdragons available, so potentially she could send 6 with Go Again, something else with Go Again, Endless Arrow, close the chain. She has Quiver available, so we will likely be seeing 6 Go Again, 6 Go Again, Quiver, depending on the draw. There could be a Snapdragons in there, likely going 4 links wide. We just need to decide if this Remorseless is the worst thing that is going to be thrown at us. On this case, looking back, I am inclined to take this damage. This is 10 damage. We take the 6. With our current hand, we are looking at playing 5 attack actions, so actually 11 damage. Which puts us to 20. Lexi's at 22, and we do need to threaten something. We need to send some pressure. So looking back, I'm inclined to take this damage now, hold these 3 blocks for whatever's coming next. Hamstring Shot has the potential to mess up our turn. Frostlock Fused, not that I'm expecting that, but here I think blocking the Remorseless is wrong. This is not the worst thing that Lexi is going to throw at us, which is why she's sending it first. It's also just damage. We're ahead on life now, and we have a good enough hand to keep on pressure, so I disagree with blocking this. I do think this is wrong. It also now leaves us without 3 blocks in hand. A snapped Endless Arrow is not something I am concerned about. So imagine here that we are at 20 life with a Remorseless effect on the stack. Not on the stack, on the board. Infecting Shot, Go Again. Lexi will quiver into whatever. Gets the Bolton Shot. Terrible luck for us. Here we will block. just can't let Lexi get more value. The Bolton shot is just horrendous luck for us. So here, let's imagine that after we play out our hand, we have 2 blues. We're effectively at 9, right? We've taken 6 damage from the Remorseless, and we'll take 5 damage from playing 1, 2, 3. A Lava Vein was 4, and a Phoenix Flame was 5 attacks. Over this means we can go 7 lengths wide. That lets us open with a Snatch, snap it, depending on how Lexi chooses to block. Kodachi for 1, Kodachi for 1. Ravenous Rabble for 4. Rising Resentment for 3. Lava Vein Loyalty for 1. Phoenix Flame for 1. I do think that blocking that Remorseless was wrong. 11 damage is a lot of damage when we're racing, but it lets us do so much more on our turn. Here, we'll play this Snatch and we'll snap it, and maybe Lexi doesn't block it, but we can't do anything else. Here, we start with the Rabble, revealing a 2. Horrendous luck for us. Seeing the Warmonger's Diplomacy, which is potentially effective. We can Snatch here. We have Snap available. Lexi does not have Snapdragons. Lexi has a face-down card in Arsenal. So if this Snatch hits, we can snap it, play our Warmongers, and hopefully Time Walk her, assuming this arrow is not natural go again. But still, just imagine this turn with, let's back up here. This is we know a blue's on top of our deck. So let's say this turn is 2, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage threatened, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 13 damage threatened, with a draw effect from the Snatch, getting 2 cards from Lexi's hand just to start with. She's going to take some damage to even out the life total, and we're either going to draw a Warmongers and Time Walk her, or she spends her entire turn disrupting our Mask Triggers. Then we get to Arsenal a Warmongers and play out the rest of the game like that. Blocking the Remorseless really did screw us up, keeping in mind that Remorseless was just damage. Snatch gets blocked. And yeah, we still have a comfortable life total against Lexi, but who cares? We could have had a more comfortable life total against Lexi with us both being at 10 fewer life. Imagine Lexi's Time Walked here. She can't flip the Endless Arrow, so she just has to pass. Here we are looking at taking 8 damage, going down to 10. 4 from the Bolton, 4 from the Endless. Endless gets loaded back into the Arsenal. How do we like playing out this turn, knowing that Lexi would either Arsenal this Endless Arrow or not, because she knows about our Warmongers? We can send 1-1-5 to threaten a Mask Trigger, snap the Breaking Point, play the Warmongers. We can take this 4 damage, block the Endless Arrow, potentially with Warmongers and Breaking Point, send 7 on our turn and threaten Mask. Here I like just taking 4 from the Bolton shot, seeing how Lexi's going to play out the rest of this turn. Lexi also has the option to block a Kodachi with the Spring Tunic because this game won't last another 3 turns. You can also do some interesting lines with Brand Kodachi Breaking Point, Snap Breaking Point, Phoenix Flame Breaking Point. We push damage. It just threatens the Lexi's arsenal. Here I like taking this damage. I like going to 10, giving Lexi the Endless Arrow. Yes, she knows about Warmonger's Diplomacy, so it puts her in a weird spot where she can choose to arsenal this or not. If she arsenals this at the end of her turn, Warmonger's Diplomacy just stops her turn. She cannot flip the Endless Arrow. The most she can do, she cannot play it and snap it. She could get lucky with an Art of War to get it go again. She could also get lucky with an Arctic Incarceration. We've seen 2. She played 1 and blocked with the other. So I am not as concerned about that. Here I'm just taking this damage going to 10. On our turn, we have the option to do some tricky lines by sending damage. If she only has 4 cards in hand, she needs to give us 1 to stop the mask trigger on the breaking point, or if she blocks the Kodachi, we can sequence a little differently. But in either case, I think we are time walking her by just taking this damage. So Lexi does Arsenal, and here's a big mistake, because we are immediately going to play this brand using our Warmongers as pitch value, which is just... Oh no, excuse me, sorry, she didn't Arsenal it. So this does become a bit better, right? It's just now let's think about how we're going to sequence this turn. Brand Kodachi leaves us with 2 resources available. Let's say the Kodachi gets blocked. We can then, 2 resources available. We can play Breaking Point for 5, snap the Breaking Point, pick up a Phoenix Flame, and Breaking Point again. We push some damage, we threaten a mass trigger, we use our Snapdragons. I believe that is our best course of action. All predicated on the fact that Lexi knows that we have a Warmonger's Diplomacy. Ugh, I hate this. I hate this. I know what I'm thinking in that we send a Phoenix Flame, we get to send a Breaking Point for damage, and then Arsenal the other Breaking Point, but we don't care. The Lexi has a 4-card hand and we're at 10. We really want to be threatening mask triggers, and we don't want to end this game with our Snapdragon available. We finally see an Art of War with a very good hand to play it, but at this point I think it's just too late. Sleep Dart for 5. I do not like blocking this. I like taking the damage going to 5. We lose our hero power, which is unfortunate, but we really want to block with Mask here. We know that Lexi has an Endless Arrow in hand, and we don't know what her last card is, but in theory, Endless Arrow for 5 doesn't kill us. We can block with our Mask, we can go to 2, and then play what looks like a very strong Art of War hand. Lexi with a Remorseless for 6 is bad for us, right? This is now lethal damage. We cannot just block with Mask or else we die. It does mean that the game is probably over. I do not believe there is a way to use this hand. We can block with Mask, Warmongers, and go to 4. But then we only get 3 actions to push damage on Lexi. This breaking point is no longer useful. What we should do here to have the best chance at turning this game around is play our Art of War, pitch our Warmonger's Diplomacy, banish our Lava Vein Loyalty to draw 2 cards. We need to be able to defend from Arsenal. That's the mode we need to take. The problem there is if we give +1 defense and defend from Arsenal, then we only have 2 cards left in our hand. We block with Mask and Breaking Point. We send Enlightened Strike for 5, draw a card, hope that we can snap into something valuable, but at this point the game is already over. We cannot play our Art of War and really do anything else. No. I enjoyed watching this game back and seeing blocking the first Remorseless was the wrong play. Here we're blocking such that we can Kadachi Breaking Point, but it's too late. Watching this game back was good, and just seeing, well, trying to be more defensive against Lexi, yes, and blocking intelligently, and then we immediately didn't block intelligently. Remorseless is just damage, and we had quite a bit of life to give. Not using our Snapdragons to play this breaking point, so now we lose the game with a Snapdragons available, which is terrible. At some point we should have played it, even if it didn't win us the game. That was objectively wrong to do. Just opting to concede here, which I think was preemptive, but